So guys, this is the I'm showing you what is going on. So guys, this is part 72 of jQuery tutorial. In this video, we will discuss how to implement autocomplete text box using jQuery and ASP .NET. Here is what we want to achieve this. What we want to achieve. So this is a database. What is there? So TBL student is going to contain some student data within an ASP.NET Web Forms application. We are going to have this student name text box as we start to type the name of the student. We want this text box to suggest all which one text box? This one text box. Okay. So we want this text box to suggest all these student names that are available in this case. Notice that we have started to type letter M, and this text box is suggesting all the student name that start with letter M. Now instead of typing the student full name, we can actually select the name that we are interested in from these suggestions. So let's see how to implement this autocomplete feature in as ASP.NET Web Forms application using jQuery UI YZ autocomplete. So the first step here is to create the database table, which I have already created. And here we have got the created table script. This is the table script. If I run this, execute this query, then we will see. Oh, I have already not here. I should first select the database name. Yeah. Now I'll execute it. So and this insert script, as you can see, the insert scripts are there. This is the insert script for sample data. Okay, I have already executed this. So, and at the moment within student table we have got 10 rows. The next step is to create a stored procedure which is going to retrieve student name suggestion. I have already created the stored procedure. I will show you. Here is our stored procedure. Okay. Let's go ahead and create that stored procedure. Now I'm going to call this stored procedure student name. I have already give it his names sp gets student name, and this stored procedure is going to have a parameter. This is the parameter add term parameter. I'm going to call this term, and the data type of this is going to be envarchar envarchar 50 begin end. Okay, so what do we want this stored procedure to do? We want to select name column from table students where name like whatever is the input parameter that we are passing, and to that I am going to append this append this percentage wildcard. So let's go to and execute this. I have already executed this stored procedure, so I am not going to execute it again. Okay, now for example, if we pass letter M, okay, if I pass here letter M to this stored procedure, then this stored procedure should return us all the student names that start with letter M. So what is going on here? So this M. So I'm typing the M here. Okay. Now I execute this. Let's see what does happen. Execute it. Okay. And look at this. Here we are all the name column value from table students table. We are name like at term. So in this case, like M percentage. So give me all student names that start with letter M. So here we ask, this shows us the result of this as SP student names started with M letter. So we have 4 students whose names start with M letter. Okay. So for example, I pass MA, then it should only return all the names that start with MA. Okay. If I MA and execute this query, this stored procedure, let's see what does happen. So we got only 3 student name started with MA letter. So we have got this stored procedure. Now let's go ahead and flip to Visual Studio. So let's move to Visual Studio. Here I have an ASP.NET Web Form application. Okay, I have created it already. Within the web config file, I have included connection strings. So here we need to do what? We need to, okay. Here is the connection string. Copy this. And paste it here. So as you can see, it is our connection strings. And I made a database as the name motive. You can specify your own database name, and this is my system address. This is, you have to specify your own system computer name or system name. Some people have dot symbol as their database name or as their computer name or whatever they have. So write here your own computer or system name. Okay. Now this is the connection string to our motive database, which contains our table student table. So the next step is to add a generic handler to this project. Okay, and I am going to call. So how to create a generic handler? Keep and click add new item and search for generic handler. Okay, this one is the generic handler, and remove the and give it a name as student handler, student student handler. dot ASHX and click add. Okay, so what is this handler going to do? It is going to retrieve the student data for us from the database table TBL students. So within this process request functions within student handler class, means here is this student handler inherited from IHTTP handler class, I mean interface, and it has got the function process request which we need to implement. So basically this function process request is going to retrieve the data from the database table and return those student suggestions. Okay, so we are going to write some edu.net code here. Let's bring the edu.net namespaces. We need system.configuration. So here what we need to write using configuration system dot configuration. We need system dot data. And then we need system dot data dot SQL client. Okay, dot SQL client, and we also need system dot web dot script serialization. Okay, system dot web dot script dot serialization. Because we are going to serialize the data to JSON format using this JavaScript serializer. Okay, all right, so the first thing that we are going to do here within process request function is to create a variable of type string, and I am going to call this term. Okay, so first remove this things from here, remove this, and type string term is equal to, and what is going and what is this going to do? It is going to make use of this context. Okay, it's going to make of use this context object. So this context object has got request parameter, and it is going to request for a query string that has this name term. So type it here, context dot request term, term, but it is in inverted comma. Okay. Okay. In a bit, a request for a query string that has the name term. Okay. This context object has got a request parameter, and it is going to request for a query string that has this name term. In a bit, you will understand where this query string is coming from. Now, if we have a query string with that name term, with that name, we want to use that value, store that value in this variable. Okay. Otherwise, if it is null for some reason, then store empty string. Okay. Empty string is this one. Okay. In this variable, store empty string in this variable. Okay. You in bit you will understand, how we are going to use this variable. This variable. Okay. All right. Variable term. Okay. Now, next step is to create a string variable, and I am going to call this CS connection string. So here I'm going to create a string variable, str and string variable, and I'm going to call this a connection string, CS. Okay. And we are going to read the connection string from web.config file using the configuration manager class. The name of the connection string is dvc, not dvcs. This time it will be a motive. So I'll type what I will type. I'll type configuration manager, CONFIGUR, configuration manager, search it's come. Okay. And our database is from the motive. Okay. Dot connection string. Okay, something is happening here. I am getting CONFIGURAT and configuration MANAGER. I think here should be given a. So I'll check coding from this notepad. Okay. This is okay. Here should be a inverted comma. And what is going on wrong here? Okay. configuration dot connection string. Okay, so where is the connection string? Here, dot connection string. Not as. Okay, and using that connection string, I'm going to create a SQL connection object. Let's call this connections using statement. We will use the using statement. So again, go to here and copy this line. So I'm telling you out what does this line do. What is this line is doing here? So using statement. So connection object, SQL connection object is created here. Let's call this con, and we are going to use the connection string that we have just read from web.config file. This is the connection string CS. Okay, from the config file. Okay, the next thing we are going to do is create a SQL command object. So how to create a SQL command object? Again, go to the notepad and check here. This is the SQL command object. And using this SQL command object, we are actually going to execute this stored procedure. We are going to execute this stored procedure that we have created. Here, this one, ASP get student names, and we are going to execute this command object. So which command object we are going to execute? Actually going to execute this we are going to execute this command object using this SQL connection object, this SQL connection object. Since now copy this one. Since this command object is executing a stored procedure, we have to tell that to the command object using the command type. Okay, this is the command type property, and this stored procedure also has got a parameter. So we need to create that and associate it with the command object. So command object dot parameter. Okay, this one. Add. And what we want to add? We want to add a new SQL parameter object. So let me go and create that. So again, go back to notepad and copy this here and paste it in the coding. So let's populate two required property. Okay, the name of the parameter. So parameter name, what is the name of the parameter? We call it add parameter, add the term. This is the parameter name. So we can copy it from the database also. We can copy from here. If you want to copy it, I have typed already it there. Okay. And where is the value going to come for this? This going come from this variable, okay, from this variable. Value is coming from this variable, okay. So let's pass that. We have passed this variable term here. So we have created the parameter associated with it, with the command object. Now let's go ahead and open the connection, execute the command. So again, go to the notepad and copy this stuff of code. Paste it here. Okay, once again, go to back here. Okay. So command.execute reader, and whatever the result get, let's store that in SQL data reader object. Let's call it RDR. Now we will use a while loop. Once again, go back to notepad and copy this code stuff. Come back to your coding, and here we will type it here. Okay. While rdr.read, so while we are looping through each row, what do we want to do? We want to create a list of student names. So I am going to create a list variable. So list variable, let's call this. So again, go to your notepad and copy this line of code. I'm creating this list, and back to your coding, where we need to paste it. We paste it okay, below this. So we want to create a list of student names. So I'm going to create a list. This is the list variable. So list of string. Let's call this list student names. This is the name of the list of type string. So while we are looping through each row, so we are going to get the reader object as we are looping through each row. Then what we want to do, we want to add to the student list the name of the student. So RDR, and this is going to contain name column. This one is the name column. So retrieve the name column value and add it to the list. Okay, so by the time this code finishes, we have all the student names added to that list. Okay, now what we want to do, we want to create instance of JavaScript serializer class. So again, go back to notepad and copy this stuff of code and paste it here. Okay, so we create JavaScript serializer class, and this object JS has got serialize function, and we are going to serialize the list of student names to JSON. Format, and whatever we have serialized, we want to write that to the response string. So I am going to again this context. I have used this context. From this context, I make use of this context here. So I type this context parameter that is coming into this function. This is the parameter coming into this function process request. So I'm using this context here. Dot response dot write. We want to write JSON JS. This is the JSON's. Okay, mean JS object, JSON string. Okay, so we have our handler function which is going to talk to our database and retrieve the data. Okay, so let's go ahead and quickly test our student handler. Okay, so I am going to run this. So if I run this, and let's navigate to student handler.ash. Let's navigate to yeah. Look at this. In this case, we don't have that term query string. All right, we are not passing the term query string to this handler, right? And this is the result in JSON format. Okay, right? So as a result, what happens, we are passing an empty string. So when we pass an empty string, that gets passed term, that empty string. Which string we are talking about? Empty string. We are talking about this empty string. Okay, this empty string get passed when we pass an empty string, that gets passed term to this here. Okay, here. And what happens when we pass an empty string? It is going to return us all the student names from the database. Okay, and that is what we are getting here. What we are getting here. This is what we are getting here. Now, for example, if we pass in our term query string, and if we pass letter M is the value for that query string, look at now, we only get student names that start with letter M. Okay, means if I pass the query string is equal to M, capital M. Okay, I made a mistake in the query. TERM term is equal to M. Okay, we get the result of this student name started with M, letter M, and the query term is used here. For example, if I type MER, then what does happen? We get only 3 students, okay, in the JSON format. So our handler is working as expected. So let's go ahead and add a web form to our project. So go to the Visual Studio and add a web form to this project demo. Here is the web form. There is the web form, and keep the name as it is, webform1.aspx. Click it. Okay, and let's name it webform, and we have already named it webform1.aspx. And here let's actually include this literal text student name, where we will type, here we will type a student name. Come here and type the literal STUDENT, student name. Okay, and I'm going to include an ASP.NET text box here. Here we will text box. Where is the text box? There, it is the text box. Okay, here let's give it an ID. Give it an ID. Let's call it text name. We will change it to text name. TEXTNAME. So this is going to be our name text box, into which we type the student name. And the important thing here is, within our head section, we have the first thing that we need to do is include this script. We need to include here a script. So I need to include the script first. Okay, this is our jQuery file, jQuery script file. Now in addition to that, we need the jQuery UI and JavaScript file. So we want to use the jQuery autocomplete YGET. YGET. So now in order to get that, navigate to jQuery.com. So you may go to here, and you can navigate to jQuery UI.com. Okay. So so here we have a accordion, as you can see here, autocomplete button, date picker. So we are okay. So we are going to see how this autocomplete YGET is going to work. We are going to use this in an ASP.NET web form application. So now in this website, when you actually click on the download, go to here, download button, it will take you to their download page. And at the moment, notice we have got this checkbox. If you see this is the checkbox, toggle all. So all the user UI YGET, all of them are selected. If you uncheck, if you make it unchecked, not this one. If you make this unchecked, cancel here. If you make it unchecked, then all will be deselected, will become unchecked. Now, for some reason within your production application, if you want to just use the autocomplete widget, then there is no reason why you want to download the service code, css and image of all the widgets, right? So in that case, what you can do is customize this download, so you can uncheck this and then check only the widgets and component that you need. So in this case, if you just need autocomplete, so I can select that widget only, autocomplete. If I select this widget, where is the autocomplete? Go below. Okay. If I select this one, okay, if you select only autocomplete widget, then you will see these, only these widgets are selected, and all the dependency will be automatically checked for us. And then once you click at download, if you click at download this button, you know only the source code, that is the jQuery code, css and image is required for that component will be downloaded. In case if you want all of them, check this toggle also, so we will download for all widgets. So make it check and keep everyone selected, other dependencies. Okay, it is going to I have already done this, so I don't need to again download this widget. So if you have not downloaded it, you can download it by clicking this button. Okay, and you will get this type of zip type, this file. Okay, from this zip type you have to use this jQuery UI CSS, copy this, and this jQuery UI JS. Okay, if I go back, I have extracted this jQuery UI 1.13.2 custom.j zip, and from this zip I have copied these two things. One is jQuery UI CSS and jQuery UI JS, and I have also copied this image folder also and paste these threes here. Okay, now if it is a productions app, then probably use minimized version, because they are smaller in size, so they are optimized. If it is for your develop purpose, then use non-minimized minified version for easy debugging. So within my project, here the ASP.NET web form applications, we are going to implement the autocomplete widget, right? So all you need here is three things. So all you need three things. So you need the jQuery UI JavaScript, this one, jQuery UI JavaScript file, jQuery UI CSS file, and the image folders I have already pasted here. Okay, so I have already done this. So I have copied them and pasted it into our ASP.NET web form application. So we have the jQuery UI CSS file and jQuery UI.js file, and I also have the image folders within our web form .aspx. At the moment, we have only the reference jQuery file, script file. This is Here is the only reference. Okay, we need the jQuery UI CSS file. So those are the three things we need, and let's include another script sections here. So first of all, what we need to do here, bring click. What does it happens? Go back here again and drag and drop, and then drag this also. Drag this one here. Okay, and now we need we includes another script section here. So go to the notepad, and from here, which script so copy this script and paste this script below here. Okay, now what this script section is telling us, this script type equal text slash JavaScript and $document dot ready. $document dot ready. Okay, so we want to use autocomplete reference. So we want to use that autocomplete feature with this text box txt name, that is ID. So let's find this text box with that ID. So dollar, we are using this to find the text name ID that we are looking for is txt name, and let's copy that. We have copied this text name from the handler, student handler, not student handler. We had copied this from here. This is the ID. Okay, and look at this. On this I can actually call autocomplete. At this I am calling the autocomplete. So that is the function that we are calling, and look at what the function expects. It expects some optional options to be passed. Okay, and if you want to see what those options are, you also have the jQuery UI documentation available. So if you click on a API documentation is here. If you click this API documentation, okay, it will take you to another page. This is the page of API documentation, and if you click where is the if you clicked auto complete YZ and look at this here are all source options. If you click this source, okay, then what you see, so basically you will have to set the source option. So this is going to contain the suggestion that we want to display within that name text box. In this case, okay, so we will talk about source, and we will talk about source in detail a later video session. For now, we are going to set the source options, and we are going to set that using a JavaScript object. So I'm going to set source to our handler. So if you look at here, this is the source option. Okay, we will talk it in detail in later video session. So go back to your coding. So we are going to set the source option, and we are going to set that using a JavaScript object. So I'm going to set source to our handler, okay, student handlers .ashx. So this is all the code that is required. So what is this handler is going to do? This is going to return us the student name suggestion. So what is going to happen now? Let's go ahead and run this. So here, so I am going to run this web form 1.axpx. So as I type capital letter M, means I type M here. So you can see the autocomplete white get is working. Look at that, we get all those suggestions that start with letter M. Similarly, for example, when I type letter J, if I type letter J, look at that, and as I continue to type, look at that, whatever suggestion that match that character, those are displayed. For example, if I type J O, so this is the for J. Now when I type R, for example, if I type R, what is going to happen is this autocomplete, this is going to call this student handler. This is going to call this student handler autocomplete. This autocomplete is called this student handler, and it is going to pass the letter that we have typed in this case R to this handler using query string. So what is going to do is call the student handler and then append a query string. So equal whatever, query string equal whatever, okay. It is in this. If I type something here, okay, okay. We have tagged the letter R, so that R will be passed, using the query string to the handler. And what are we going within that? With that query string, this handler, we are actually reading the query string. In this query string, we are talking about which query string? In this, okay. We are actually reading the query string value and we are passing that to the stored procedure. In this stored procedure, it's executed, and whatever the names that match, that start with that letter, return back, then those are displayed as a suggestion within the text box. Okay, here. So here is the handler code. So here is the handler code. Check it, copy it, and paste in your coding file. And this is the HTML code, jQuery code. Okay, we have showed you the autocomplete WhiteGet uses, how to use WhiteGet autocomplete. Thank you for listening and have a great day.